Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch discussion of our top 10 personal favourite films of 2023. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Join me today, Dylan Black.
Happy to be here. I just ordered Nosferatu off Amazon.
Okay, which one?
The original. Like, I feel like I should, like, I've ordered it. I just want everyone to know that in this current time, as I'm recording this podcast, I've ordered the original so I can watch it in the first bit of the year. So I'm ready. I don't want to be watching it for the first time too close to the new one. You know what I mean? So I want to watch it now.
Okay.
You know?
Kicking off 2024 in style.
Yeah. Got to get
ready. The oldest
ready,
possible movie.
Yeah, but the new one comes out in the 26th, you know?
Hopefully.
No, it's definitely coming out.
We'll see.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I think.
It's actually about, and Nosferatu is actually Santa. That's going to be a big twist.
It's Krampus.
All right, yeah, so today we're talking about our top 10 favorite movies of 2023. Key distinction for people listening, we're only covering movies that came out in Australia in 2023.
Shocking, because we live in Australia.
You don't know, there's festivals, there's
website.
previews, there's screeners for stuff. You know, sometimes we get things early. Yeah. Sometimes they just never come out in Australia for some reason.
It's true.
And also the international listeners as well, as we've seen on statistics and that kind of thing. So, all right, Dylan, do you want to kick things off? What's your number 10? Wait, let me ask. How hard was the list this year? Do you feel like it was very easy to compile your list this year, or was it a tricky one?
I would say, like, so I was saying to you before I recorded, I had 25 movies. I knocked out 10 pretty easy. Then I got down to 15. Then I moving that order, the bottom 7, 8, not so hard. Top 5-ish or so was definitely, I don't know, it was pretty hard. Yeah, actually, the answer to the question is yes.
Getting it narrowed down to the exact order was difficult. Getting 10 movies.
The order was the difficult part. If I could have just had 10 movies and just listed them in alphabetical order, that would have been easier, but
that's not how we do it.
That's not how we do it.
Yeah, that's for wusses. What's the American thing that puts out the top 10 movies list?
Watch Mojo?
No. Doesn't matter.
IGN?
It's pretty big. No, it's like a big prestigious thing that puts out like top 10 movies, top 10 American movies.
BFI.
No. It might be. No, the AFI or something like that.
AFI, American Film Institute.
Yeah, they put out the top 10. They just list them alphabetical order.
Alphabetically, yeah.
Because there can't be a winner. Anyway, Dylan, what's your number 10?
My number 10. I'm starting on a hot take here. Leave the World Behind.
Wow.
I really obviously this movie came out in December, but I watched it at the start of December when it came out on Netflix. And I was like, I think I really enjoyed this movie. Like, and I could see people like saying it's terrible and all this sort of stuff. Get towards the end of the year, and I'm still like, you know what? I really enjoyed that movie. Like, something about it just really vibed me, and it's just sort of hard to talk about it without spoilers. But I mean, the plot for the movie is literally, you got this family. It's Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, their 2 kids. They go stay at like an Airbnb. Then the people who own the Airbnb turn up and they're like, man, some shit's going downtown. And they're like, I don't know, are you trying to like rob us? What's going on? And then they're like, there's some weird shit happening. And then stuff happens. But to go into why I really liked it, spoilers, but I love sort of, let me put it this way. I think like after we went through COVID, so it just showed like sometimes it's the simplest things in life to get people through, I guess, hard times. I sort of loved this movie's take on that, I guess, is what I would say for people who've watched it. And I really like the performances. I overall liked its just weird, wacky nature, which I think is the non-fully explained part is, I think, why some people don't like it, because they want to know what's happened, what is the go. And I mean, spoilers, you don't actually find out. I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. Like, that's part of the movie. Like, who is doing this? Could be anyone. That's the point. Yes, I really, really liked it. Liked the way it was shot. Some really great special effects in it. In particular, there's a scene where like a boat crashes onto a beach halfway through the movie, which is awesome. Yeah, that's my number 10.
All right. Yeah, my list also like hard to narrow down. Even right now, I'm like, do I swap this one with this one as we're talking, that kind of thing. But actually, compiling a list of like compiling the list of nominees for this year was not a difficult task. There was a lot of great movies.
Finding good movies wasn't hard.
No shortage.
Mm.
So my number 10 is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Fantastic action movie. Tom Cruise knows what he's doing. Of course, you get that awesome, jump that was pretty much the advertising for the entire movie. Yeah, lots of really good spy stuff. Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise have really good chemistry with their back and forth throughout the entire movie. The Abu Dhabi set piece looks incredible, and it's crazy that they had like kind of pretty much free reign of that airport to do whatever they want. Even though it is part 1, it definitely felt like it had conclusion. And yeah, it was a really good time. I had fantastic time in the cinema. One of the other movies I saw twice in the cinema, actually. So really good. So that's my number 10. Dylan, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Suzume.
Ooh.
So film about a talking chair. I mean, so the movie is about this girl, Suzume, who sort of, she meets this like dude who's a bit older than her or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, you're like following, you're doing some weird shit. What are you doing?" And he's closing doors, and the doors are like causing natural disasters. Well, not, I guess they're unnatural disasters in this case, I guess, but they're causing disasters in Japan. Anyway, then there's a talking door later in the movie. But I mean, without getting into all the weird, the anime type stuff of it, it is a movie about how Japan, in particular, I guess, is affected by earthquakes and disasters and these sort of natural disasters, and how that affects people. And I loved that aspect of it and how that's so cleverly, I think, tied into the movie and how characters talk about previous stuff that's happened in their life and these events. And you've got these areas of Japan that are just, and it's interesting yet dark, I guess, like, and the movie shows it, just these massive areas where disasters happen that are just locked off, be it from World War II through to earthquakes and tsunamis and whatever else, like all these areas just locked off and stuff. And yet it's viewed as, and it is obviously, and I'd love to go there one day, but it's just such a, everyone views it such this beautiful, idealistic country, but it has so much like, disaster happens there. So yeah, very beautiful film, wonderful animation, voice acting, everything like that. So I've been dying to rewatch it. I know it's on Crunchyroll, and I've been very tempted just to rewatch it there, but I'm keep waiting for the bloody Blu-ray to come out. As far as I can see, it's still a couple months away. But I'm like, God fucking damn it. Anyway, yeah, number 9 on my list.
That's crazy that it's still not out in physical media.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Like,
yeah, you think that it came out reasonably early in the year, I want to think.
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
I know.
Good pick. Soundtrack's really good as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah, soundtrack's really good.
My number 9 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
Whoa.
Really, really fun movie. Obviously directed by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly, who previously did the fantastic and underrated Game Night. This feels like them kind of leveling up a little bit with the action and the fantasy and the set pieces and that kind of stuff. A fantastic in a year where we've had a great video adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons, this was a very good movie adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons. In like kind of the silly plans that you come up schemes to like get what you need to accomplish and that kind of thing. Lots of interesting creative things that they do, but also lots of humor across the board. Chris Pine's fantastic, hilarious lead as the bard, Michelle Rodriguez. She's really great in that barbarian role. Hugh Grant, the great conniving villain. Yeah, it's a great time. Lots of fun set pieces, lots of fun gags.
One of the
it's a really good time.
Most underrated movies of the year, I'd say.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people didn't watch it because the trailers were shit, and they were, and I'll stand
it
by
didn't look great, but it
Yeah.
was a great time.
It was actually a lot of fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dylan, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Barbie.
Wow.
So obviously one of, if not the biggest, I don't know who won this or Oppenheimer. Who got the most money? Barbie, right?
Barbie won.
Yeah. The biggest movie of 2023 will forever be remembered as the year Barbie released. Obviously the movie's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. Watched it twice. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, they're both fantastic, as well as the whole supporting cast. It's crazy that the movie exists. It's insane that it's actually good. I will never understand how Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, everyone involved, Noah Baumbach got this script and idea and everything sort of signed off and made it the success it is.
Knowing what we know of Warner Brothers now.
Yeah, I don't
know how.
I have no idea how this movie happened. It's a miracle, really. So, yes. I mean, there's not much to say about Barbie that hasn't been said. It's the success story of 2023. It's fantastic, lively, insanely funny, just full of so many ideas and commitment to bringing the Barbie IP to life in such an interesting way, while honoring it, while also pointing out how, like having a feminist lens to the character and looking at how the character's treated in 21st century and stuff. Very, very good.
All right. My number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn finally brings his trilogy of films to a conclusion. We get the origin story kind of Rocket Raccoon while he's in peril the entire movie. This is a very sweet, like, entertaining movie. Easily the best thing the MCU's done since Endgame. We get to see these characters that we love, and it definitely feels like a conclusion to this chapter of time with these characters. We get crazy action sequences. We get lots of funny jokes and gags. We get, heartwarming and heart-crushing moments. It's kind of everything you kind of would want from a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And from, James Gunn's swan song at Marvel. So, this is my number 8. Fantastic movie. Dylan, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is The Boy and the Heron.
Ooh.
The Hayao Miyazaki film, Studio Ghibli film, turned into something more of a more divisive film. That it wasn't like the, as we spoke about, you don't like it as much as I do, and this isn't the like Ghibli film that came out that everyone just beloved and said, yeah, a Ghibli film. And I think that is just part of it. Like, this is definitely a lot more. It's a very like personal film for Miyazaki. It has a lot more. It's a lot slower paced. It's a lot more thoughtful, but also builds into being so weird. But I definitely I think the way the film's structured and spends its time to build up to where it gets to, and it's to me, it's just such an obvious thing of Miyazaki being like, like it's literally his empire, like sort of crumbling, but it's okay, life goes on. Like, it's as I say, like it's hard to talk about, another hard one to talk about with spoilers, but I mean, from an animation front, it's pristine as always. I love the normal Ghibli animation that we get throughout it. I guess this beautiful hand drawn stuff, but also the stuff at the start of the film, like sort of the 12 frames a second sort of fire sequence and stuff like that. Such weird creations of fucking, I don't know what are those birds, pelicans? No, the thing's a pelican. But I don't know, the other birds are trying to kill pelicans. People. Yeah, what other birds trying to kill people? Whatever they are, they're weird. Like, there's lots of just oddities spread throughout this.
Oh, there was like the parakeets?
They're parakeets, yeah, the parakeets and stuff like that. And then all the other characters that are introduced towards the rest of the movie. The English, I watched it in English as well, in the English voice cast. I think it's fantastic.
Robin Pattinson.
Yeah, especially Robert Pattinson, who you would never pick.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Florence Pugh. I mean, everyone's great in it, so
yeah.
Fantastic film. I can't wait to watch it again. It straight away I knew I liked it, but I've continued to like find and see other people write about it and who like and just break down it more and stuff. And I just find it such an intriguing film. So
awesome. My number 7 is Poor Things. The film about a man who sees a pregnant woman commit suicide off a bridge, takes that pregnant woman, takes the baby out, puts the brain of the baby into the woman's body, and then brings her back to life. And then we see her life.
That's what that movie's about. Like
that is what you didn't know.
I did not know. No.
That is the jumping off point.
I literally had no idea what the movie was about.
Yeah, and then it's the story of this woman kind of discovering herself, her body, about the world. You introduce Mark Ruffalo as this crazy, womanizer who, takes her away on a journey around the world. Yeah, just a really fascinating story, a really brave, ambitious performance by Emma Stone. Great supporting cast like Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe. It's Rami Youssef. I was going to say Rami Malek, and I knew that was wrong. And a bunch of other fantastic, supporting cast members. In this, kind of a weird coming of age story of a child in a woman's body. But yeah, it is really funny at times. Yorgos Lanthimos does really interesting things with his camera work. They've got astounding sets and also fantastic beautiful backdrops and that kind of stuff. A very interesting alternate take on a Victorian kind of world. Yeah, just a very fascinating movie that's also obviously very it's a very ambitious movie that might rub some people the wrong way, but I found to be quite delightful and sincere. So yeah, that's my number 7. Dylan, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is John Wick Chapter 4. What we now can presume, I guess, at least until it's not the final John Wick film, it is just when you think, how can you keep making these things? So people get bored of them. It's no, fuck it. I'm going to make a nearly 3-hour version. And that's John Wick Chapter 4. But it does not get boring. The commitment to doing such crazy, insane, choreographed fight scenes that are either hand-to-hand combat or the way the guns, especially the way the gun art, I think has been whatever they call it in this. I have no idea if they had a word on set or something for what they call their gun stuff in this film, but the way that's built upon from the Chapter 3, and then this one is just pushed to another level. It's like gun ballet that makes John Woo jealous, I think. And yeah, I mean, you've got that sequence where it shits to the overhead shot. I think is one of the most insane things I've watched all year, and probably one of my favorite things I saw in the cinema was where the camera just swoops up into the overhead one taker, just blasting people left, right, and center like it's a video game. That was and when I rewatched the movie again, I was it was just as exhilarating. But yeah, John Wick to me, that's the epitome of sort of modern day action movies. There's not much of a story, it doesn't need to be, but the world continues to be interesting. But the protagonist isn't super interesting either. He's fine. It's Keanu Reeves just carries it because he's Keanu Reeves, but it's just the action is this is how you do action.
Awesome. My number 6 is Bottoms, the teen comedy about 2 lesbian students who start a fight club so they can get close to their crushes. Or a female self-defense class. A really hilarious movie that's very subversive and what's the word? It's not completely realistic. It's it's a very much a flight of fancy and that kind of stuff. Really fantastic performances by leads Eda Berry and Rachel Sennott. But the entire ensemble of women in that self-defense class are really fun, as well as Marshawn Lynch as the token male teacher, or taking care of making sure the the guidance counselor or whatever of the group. And just seeing kind of this weird bond between all these women, as they come together for this self-defense thing. but also being bullied by the high school football team because they think they're encroaching on their territory and that kind of stuff. Really fun movie. I hope more people watch it. Yeah, one of the funniest movies of the year. Dylan, what is your number 5?
I'll get into number 5, but I just want to say no crossover so far.
Yeah, I know, Chris.
Which shows that such a variety of films for the year. So, and I don't think we're gonna have a crossover here because my number 5 is Talk to Me.
I will spoil. It's not on my top 5.
I'm sure.
Not on my list at all.
It's not on your list at all. It's crazy. The Australian horror film that took the world by storm, I guess, in the past 12 months. The Filippo brothers, YouTubers, turned horror filmmakers, made a film, did it in Australia, even though they probably would have had more money if they chose to go against that, but committed. They're like, we want Australia, we want Australian accents, everything like that. They commit to their vision, and it's I would say this, its concept is unique, like with the embalmed hand and everything like that. But like outside of that, it is sort of like that thing of, okay, it's possession, like sort of talk to ghost movies and stuff. But I think the reason that a lot of people in Australia, myself included, but also outside of Australia, like it is because it's like that just has having that Australian vibe just does make it stand out a little bit different than if this was just a typical American horror film. Like having the types of people in the film, the actors, the people on screen are just different than your typical American teenager cast, and that makes it stand apart straight away. But yeah, I mean, there's some really great moments in this film. There's some really great performances. In particular, Sophie Wilde is committed as fuck to this role and gives a terrifying performance especially when she's possessed, I guess, and talking as another person when holding onto the hand and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for another one. I don't know if he'll be able to hold up the same success. That's my only worry, I guess. It's that whole thing of like, okay, you've done it once, now do it again, sort of thing. But I really hope they can, because yeah, it was just such a fantastic film, and just to watch the success it's had has been really, really good to see as well, and support. Like watching that. Did I ever share that video of you, the one where they like they go to Sundance and everything like that?
No, I don't think so.
No, like even I know you don't care to watch this film, but I would highly suggest watching. They got a video on the YouTube channel,
behind the scenes,
behind the scenes where they go to Sundance. The actors, like, they're just roaming around being fucking, like, you know, they're doing silly things. They're just being their regular self, Danny and Michael and the cast and everything like that. And then you get to hear their reaction when A24 says they brought the film, and they tell their parents and everything like that. It's really, really great, wholesome sort of content. So
awesome. My number 5, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Takes what they did with Into the Spider-Verse and takes the animation style and ambition to the next level. I mean, the opening 10 minutes with in Spider-Gwen's world could it be its own short film, and I would have happily paid $20 to go see it. But then you also get this very personal story with Miles and his parents and about growing up and that kind of stuff. Before you get into all the action of the Spider-Verse, crossover stuff, and all the nods and references and everything is like incredible to look at. All these spider people like populating the screen, and all of them obviously are based on something and from somewhere. All the little cameos and that kind of stuff, and kind of did a really good job of kind of tying everything together in this one big action set pieces, and kind of explain why Miles would be at odds with everybody else. Really great performances across the board. But yeah, the animation is kind of the big star here, because it just looks, every frame looks incredible. Everything looks absolutely spectacular. And yeah, even though it ends on a cliffhanger, which is something that upsets people because it hasn't been done very often in cinema, I'm very keen for the next one, because if it can live up to what this was, I'll be very happy. So that's my number 5. Dylan, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Can you spot the wolves in this picture? I rewatched this film last night, so I've watched it twice now.
It just dropped on Apple TV Plus.
Just dropped on Apple TV Plus, indeed.
Just in time for this time.
Just in time.
As soon as Academy Award nomination voting opened up, they dropped
crazy
on Apple
how
TV Plus.
crazy how these.
What a coincidence!
It's crazy. Fantastic film. It's full of so many. So everyone is phenomenal, like performance wise. It's shot fantastic. It's from a master of his craft, Martin Scorsese, of course. But yeah, like just watching it, especially the second time, I'm just like the whole movie. You're just like this Ernest Burkhart, Leonardo DiCaprio's character. You're just like, you're a dumb motherfucker. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And I think Leo just captures that so perfectly, and it's great to watch it the second time around. Lily Gladstone Molly is phenomenal, well deserving of every award she's getting nominated and potentially Ken and May win. Yeah, it's just such a sad movie, I guess, is the other thing. Like, but I just definitely feel like between this and like a couple years ago when Watchmen, the TV show, coming out, like both covering sort of these like hidden parts of American history, between Tulsa Massacre and the Osage Nation in this. And the funniest thing is that the I just can't get over how the Tulsa Massacre is shown in this film. Yep. Something that they're watching, and like these interlinked events of American history that are sort of covered up and never talked about, and then you hear about them, and then you people turn them into movies and TV shows or whatever, and you're like, this is crazy. How haven't I heard more about this? And it's like, well, we know why, because no one wants to. America does not like.
They don't want you to remember that that's what they did.
Yeah, they don't like talking about. I was watching a quick side tangent. I watched Trevor Noah's new stand-up on Netflix last week, and he actually had a whole bit in that where he went to Germany and was saying how they're very much like we like everywhere you go they're like, yep, we did shit, we bad, like we're so sorry, everything, like we own it. And he's like, America, nope, like America's like just covers their dirty laundry up sort of thing. It's like it's just bury that shit. So, and I mean, watching stuff like this is just makes it even more so evident. But it's a fantastic movie. I especially again think getting to the end of it and just Scorsese's choice to read that part at the end after reading the interview and why he did that. I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And like, because it's like profiteering off these events, and him having that last moment, I think after reading that interview of him a couple weeks back, I was like, yep, that's makes that moment even more impactful for me. So fantastic movie by some of the best actors of all time, with one of the best directors of all time. What's there not to like?
My number 4 sees the first crossover of our lists. My number 4 is Barbie. What Greta Gerwig was able to accomplish here is incredible. Like every thing on screen, it looks fantastic, especially in Barbie world, looks fantastic. Like obviously the huge Barbie dream houses and all the sets and all the pieces and the incredible amount of pink and everything in there. I don't know. I feel like we've been joking about what this Barbie movie is going to be for like several years in the lead up. Like, what are they going to do with a Barbie movie? What can the story possibly be about? And then they tell this really lovely story about, feminism and learning to be who you are and respect for other people and, self-worth and all these different elements, with a lot of like really weird jokes that, aren't necessarily going to hit the target audience. In like a Barbie talking about, death and cellulite and all this kind of stuff. I think obviously Ryan Gosling, this was the role he was born to play. The role he was specifically written for, but he just brings the Ken energy. He made Ken he almost brought Ken up to the level of Barbie in public consciousness. I think looking back on it, especially in our spoiler cast, we maybe gave Margot Robbie not enough credit. Like her arc and the slow humanization of her Barbie over the course of the movie is very subtle, and like we probably may not have picked it up. But seeing like other people respond to it and that kind of stuff is like, you can see, and hearing her talking about it after the strike, you can see like the progression of the performance over the course of the film, and like very interesting. But so many fun hilarious gags, so many beautiful like musical moments. Obviously, the "I'm Just Ken" song, fantastic piece of cinema. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Crazy that it's the number one box office hit of the year. And here's to many more Greta Gerwig movies. Dylan, what is your number 3 film of 2024?
Top 3 time.
23, sorry.
Past Lives is my number 3.
Ooh. Guess what? My number 3, Past Lives.
Wow. There you go. Crazy. Our first actual crossover
Match.
So the film is a romance, but definitely doesn't fall into any of the typical lines of what would make a romance. It's about two characters who meet they grow up in South Korea, I guess, and then the girl moves to America and New York, right? Yeah, New York.
Yep.
And then I was like, that's a dumb question. All the fucking the city and everything. Yeah. New York, and then some years later, they sort of reconnect, and it's this whole thing of, if our lives have slightly changed, would we be together? Would you not be with this person? What if I'd done this? What if you'd done that? What if we, all these like what ifs. I think the film is just phenomenally, it's phenomenally written, but it's superbly acted by in particular the two main, but also John Margot, Greta Welly, and Tou. Just the three of them, the superb triangle between them. The movie, in the hands of anyone who wasn't, I guess, Celine's song, this could have fallen into being like melodramatic garbage. And yet it's just this beautiful film that just feels like it understands life in a way that's real and not in a Hollywood fairy tale bullshit sort of way that's so overdone or whatever. This is just like, this is life. This is how life is, and you can't answer all the questions and you can't change things and whatever else. But yeah, a phenomenal film that we got to watch together. So there you go.
Yeah, the only movie we watched together this year. Crazy. Yeah, a fantastically performed film. Obviously, it's autobiographical, but Celine's song, which adds so much like depth to it, and obviously, adds a personality to it, and while it is kind of very specific to this one person about her life experience, it does tell a very universal story with very universal themes about, I mean, I've seen a lot of people online talking about what the actual movie is about, and like specifically saying people don't like it because they're reading it the wrong way, of it being, a movie about lost love and a missed opportunity, where it's like more a movie about coming to terms with who you are in the past relationships, and how you got to where you are and that kind of thing.
It's funny that the relationships in this in Past Lives actually reminds me of the relationship from La La Land.
How that
similar
ended,
sort of, yeah. And that's not meant to be sad. It's not meant to be sad at the end. It's just,
no, because it's just,
it's just life.
That's how life works out.
Yeah, they're not sad. They're not angry. They're happy for one another. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just beautifully told. Like, obviously, it's told over these three separate time periods, but it all flows together very well. I love the relationships between all three of the characters. Like, I think it's really well done, and like the two men like not being at odds with each other, and like there's no like animosity or anything, and really like different to a lot of other stuff we watch and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
beautiful score as well, beautifully shot. Like that last like tracking shot down the New York City street, to the taxi is like heart, like knife to the chest kind of stuff. So yeah, Past Lives is a fantastic movie. That's our number 3. Dylan, what is your number 2 movie?
My number 2 is Oppenheimer.
Dylan, my number 2 is Oppenheimer as well.
Wow. Oppenheimer is I've watched this twice as well. It's got all these fucking 3-hour movies that came out this year. Crazy. Fantastic. It is from start to finish with the right sound system, ready to rock your balls off. Turn that subwoofer up, people, because this shit's insane. I'm so glad I got to watch it in cinema. Of course, this is a cinema film, especially the actual test sequence. That is loud and fucking massive, and just the way that builds up, and that the 20 minutes leading to that is probably the most I've had. And it's so funny. Like I was, what's the saying? Tongue in your throat, no, what, like holding your breath sort of thing. Like I just feel like the thrill of that 20 minutes building up to test, I was like sitting there edge of my seat in the cinema, and I know the world is gonna blow up, but like it just gets so invested in the film that you're sort of like, oh my god, like what if like and I think that's obviously the point, is like to portray this, the moment in which it was, and it's the, hey, how can I, what is the chance? What are they talking about? Well, there was a slight chance that we just burn the whole world. Like,
yeah.
What are you asking for? 100%. We're working theory. Cillian Murphy is phenomenal. I'm so glad to see him have a starring role in a Nolan film after all this time. I wonder what this will do for his career. I don't know. Like, obviously, they just announced, like, it's not that he hasn't starred and stuff before, but not to this degree with a large audience, especially major Hollywood American audience. I mean, they just announced those 28 years later films, so maybe they'll be more popular now. I have no idea. Emily Blunt is really, really good, even though I can understand how some people wish there was more from her character. I get it, but I still think like her performance and what her character is in relation to the film is somewhat underappreciated, I guess, especially like her performance within the confines of the interview room. And then obviously Robert Downey Jr. is absolutely one of his best performances ever, I think, easily. Just the cutting into back, and I mean, the other thing of this film is I just don't understand. It's written so well, directed so well, and just edited to perfection. I think I don't. The movie just flows in and out between the weird intercuts of like atomic scenes and flowing backwards and forwards to past, present, and just it never loses pace at all for 3 hours. It's just, I don't know, yeah, definitely one of the best movies of the year. I could easily watch it again now and still enjoy it. It's great.
Yeah, fantastic movie. On its surface, it should not seem like a fantastic. It would be an absolutely riveting movie that millions of people would go see and make one of the highest grossing movies of the year. A movie about a bunch of physicists trying to figure out how to make a bomb. But yeah, Nolan tells a really fascinating story. It's interesting cutting of obviously the fission and fusion of like the story of Oppenheimer, and then also the the story of Strauss as well, intercut together at various times. Like all of it kind of seamlessly is cut between each other. There's no real moments of confusion that weren't meant to be confusion, I guess. This movie has the atom bomb go off at pretty much the 2 hour mark. There's still another hour of movie to go after that. And that last hour of movie is still fantastic about the way that, these people tried to bring down Robert Oppenheimer, this guy who did all these things for them. But yeah, everything in this movie is fantastic. All the different build up to different parts. Obviously, the actual explosion of the atom bomb was an incredible feat to watch. And then there were so many stellar performances, like you said, Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr. But then you've got someone like Josh Hartnett, who nobody's seen in forever, have a fantastic role here. Benny Safdie is really great in this. Florence Pugh has a really memorable short role. Rami Malek comes in for one day of shooting and kind of steals a moment. David Krumholtz, Jack Quaid, Josh Peck, so many people in this movie get time to shine. Also, the actor who plays Albert Einstein's really good as well, and like the way that the way it ends as well is so amazing. Yeah, just a incredibly told movie, acted, shot. Every element of filmmaking that you need is done brilliantly here. So, Oppenheimer. Dylan, what is your number one movie of 2023?
I feel like we're finally going to cross off the duplicate parts. My number one movie of 2023 released all the way back in the 19th of January, right at the start of the year, and it is Babylon.
Wow.
I adore this movie, and anyone who says it's bad, you're simply terrible.
Babylon sucks.
I this is the funniest movie I've watched this year. I've not laughed so much in a movie than in this movie several times over. But then I also teared up at the end. Like, and I feel like this is the point. Like the complaint of this movie is, it's 3 hours again. There's so many fucking 3-hour movies this year. It's that whole, for the first like half I was really into it, and then I fell off, and the ending's dumb and all this sort of stuff. I don't know. Damien Chazelle speaks to my soul. I don't know. He might be my favorite director. He makes all these movies I love. I just, between this and La La Land, I'm like, I don't know, dude, you're speaking to me. Margot Robbie is phenomenal in this. This is her best performance of 2023. It's better than her performance in Barbie. I'm sorry, but her Nellie Leroy, her transformation from this girl who walks into this dream house of wild shit at the start of that movie, that first half hour where she's just fucking coked up and there's an elephant, whatever else, through to the end where she just wants to dance into the night rather than like and live instead of like trying to change. Brad Pitt, and it's such a lively character that has such a sand end, but it's just true for a lot of the people at the time. Is Diego Calva as the I guess our sort of meant to be our middle eye sort of relatable person in the middle, that sort of caught between these two worlds and these stars and stuff. So great. Flea's in this. Great. Phenomenal. Gene Smart, so fucking good in this. There's so many people, there's so many scenes. The music is fantastic that I cannot like this. Fucking Spider-Man's in this, man. He's on drugs and shit. There's a scene where he like tricks people into going to this weird fucking club underground in the sewers. I don't know. This movie's very good. This movie is my cult film of 2023, I think. And I have this is the only movie of this year that I can safely say that I have put on random scenes because I'm like, I want to eat lunch, and I would just watch 20 minutes and gone, fuck, that's good, and then just like left and cut. Like I've watched chunks of this movie out of context because I think it's so good.
My number one movie of 2023 is Godzilla -1. Japanese Godzilla movie in the middle of us being bombarded with American Godzilla content. Set in the just post World War II, following a guy who was meant to be a kamikaze pilot who survives an attack by Godzilla on an island, goes back home and is kind of ostracized because he was meant to die during the war, and starts to build a life with the found family, only for Godzilla to return and try to destroy Japan because that's what Godzilla does. Just a very well told story, really fantastic action. Godzilla is beautifully rendered, and like when he does his crazy like nuclear blast, it's far more impactful than any version of Godzilla I've seen to date. It's really hard to have like personal character human stories around in these monster movies, like especially Godzilla, where you want to see more of Godzilla. But I was very happy to be sticking around and watching these human characters surviving in this post World War II Japan. Kind of telling the story of like these people reconciling that maybe the government didn't have their best intentions in heart, and like kind of coming to terms with the war and all this kind of stuff. All these different themes all come together in this Godzilla movie of all things. Beautifully shot, really creative plans, I guess is the best way to put it. It is a incredible film that was made for what is being constantly described a fraction of the amount of money they're using in Hollywood. So, incredible movie. Everybody should see it. Will I go see it again in black and white? I might. All right. So that's our top 10s, but we've got a few honorable mentions, so we'll list them off in this week's top three.
Definitely in the top three.
Dylan, what are your top three honorable mentions?
So yes, I have done top three. It is just going to be my 11, 12, and 13 of my list. So number 11 on my list was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I still obviously really enjoy the Mission Impossible movies. Just a little bit pacing because I think of the split, not as good as the previous entries, especially the one prior to this, which is just, I think, the peak franchise with reloading muscle arms and everything like that. So sort of hard to beat
that mustache.
That mustache, everything like
the
that.
Mustache that took down DC.
Yeah, that's true. Literally true. The next one I had at number 12, I had The Killer. So the Michael Fassbender serial killer, in which he commentates the entire film acting like he's the best serial killer of all time, but he's actually pretty shit. It's very funny. It's a dark comedy, I feel. I laughed several times. There's a part where he shoots someone and just goes fuck, and I laughed out loud for quite a bit. It's very funny.
I don't know if he's a bad serial killer. I don't know if he's a bad hitman. He's just having a couple of bad days.
It's a funny movie. I don't, it cannot mean not on purpose. It's a funny movie. And then number 13, I had Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, a film in which we watched and was like, man, what is this? Like, everyone's talking about this movie's going to be good. Never heard the book. What is it? Definitely not something we, over here in Australia, I can say that I'd never heard. I have no idea. What is this book? I don't know. And I thought I wouldn't resonate with it, but I don't know. I feel like it just works. Like, there's it's American, very American film about like moving between New York and like where they go, like Jersey. No, what the fucking island?
Yeah, New Jersey.
So they move between there. It's like all these like moving between areas and big city and so far away. And I'm like, it's not that far, surely. And all this sort of stuff, and then the family life, and then all the movies. A lot of also about growing up as a girl and going through that, and then also religion and all these elements where I'm like, I don't like highly relate to a lot of this, but just as I guess a human who grew up, it's just that part is enough to get me through how I guess relatable this is between the family dynamic. I think that's the thing. Like, no matter if a lot of this stuff isn't super relatable to you, just the family dynamic and just that feeling of wanting to keep secrets or be better, and like, just, I don't know, like, it's a very well made movie with a lot of funny scenes. The girl's phenomenal. Rachel McAdams is very, very good as this. She's the mother wife who doesn't have to work anymore, and she's trying to take on all these things because that's what she thinks she has to do, but she actually just doesn't want to do them at all, really, and shouldn't be. And she's trying to fit into a crowd where she doesn't need to be trying to fit into at all. But so I'd say that was probably my biggest surprise, that I like that film as much as I did. But yeah, I was very glad I watched it towards the end of the year. Yeah. That's my top three.
Awesome. Right. So I'll list my top three honorable mentions. They're not necessarily my 11 to 13. I'm just going to list three films we haven't mentioned so far. So number 3, Elemental. This year's Pixar release. Underrated, in my opinion. A really beautiful immigrant story, but also a romance story. And a really fascinating world with all these different element-based beings kind of trying to coexist in this one city. There's all these like tiny little bits and pieces that, if you don't pay attention, you'll miss. And just kind of the world is very fascinating. But then you've also got the central love story that's really beautiful. And then there's also the story of the immigrant daughter trying to make her parents proud and that kind of stuff, and make their their life's work kind of have meaning, I guess. Continue the legacy and that kind of thing is really a really well done Pixar movie. Creed 3, fantastic conclusion to that trilogy of films. Michael B. Jordan is really fantastic in his directorial debut. Obviously, there is Jonathan Majors in this film, who obviously has taken a hit and a beating, both in the movie and in real life.
I heard that's what he was doing to someone else, and that's the problem.
Well, his reputation's taken a beating. But yeah, just some of the fight sequences, like the build up, like just a really well told story, really well put together, and I'm excited to see what Michael B. Jordan does next. Apparently, it's going to be Creed 4, but I'm excited to see what he'll do outside of the Creed universe in the future. And then Wonka. Paul King, director of the first two Paddington movies, tells the origin story of Willy Wonka. A beautiful, whimsical story with Timothée Chalamet as the lead. Some really sweet moments, some really hilarious performances, lots of really good-looking chocolate. It's a good time in the cinema. Yeah, just a good, heartwarming movie.
None of it looked lactose free.
Yeah, I don't.
My one complaint. You know?
I didn't see any cows or milk in this. Well, I don't know how much lactose is in giraffe milk.
Good question. Don't know.
We'll have to find out. All right, so yeah, that's our top 10 movies of 2023. Let us know what your top 10 movies of 2023 are by going to explosion.com/Discord or head over to our Twitter page by going to explosion.com/Twitter. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this list or all of our best of 2023 content over at explosionhour.com, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.